Welcome to We Are Cosmic Nature, the podcast. My name is Kelsey, and today I'm really excited to share with you a wonderful conversation with my beautiful friend Celine from France. And we talk about the medicine of cacao. And I won't give you too much because there's so much in this episode, but cacao is a beautiful plant that we can all work with and help us to open our hearts, feel more connected to our soul and our body. So it's really multidimensional, I suppose, and uh, can be used in a variety of ways and worked with in a variety of ways. And she has plenty of wisdom and resources to share. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I have my wonderful friend Celine calling from France, and we met a few years ago through social media, and really connected on health and wellness and traveling as a lifestyle. But Celine has shared so much on her social media about the beautiful medicine of cacao, and I love cacao, so I'm really excited to talk with you about it. So welcome here. Would you like to do a little introduction?
Yeah, thank you, love. I'm so grateful to be here. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And yeah, you're such a like-minded soul, like a soul sister. We used to call each other soul sister for 3 years, so it's really nice to connect with you again.
Mm-hmm.
So for everyone who is listening and who don't know me, I'm Celine Freundlich. I'm a holistic health coach and a yoga teacher. It's actually hard to really define in words what I do because it keeps evolving. And what is sure is that among what I do since 3 years, I work closely with the medicine of cacao. It's a real big passion of myself. And I just recently launched an online training course to help people understand more about this plant medicine and how to facilitate their own ceremonies for their communities. So it's right on point to have this conversation today.
It totally is. Yes. And I love that you said, it's hard to define what you do because you're on this journey, you're on this ride and just following the path, and that keeps winding and changing, and that's so beautiful to be able to just roll with those changes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is
Awesome.
about evolving, and we
Hmm.
will be evolving all of our life changing careers probably. And this is what already happened for me. And you're doing the same. You're evolving every year. I can see this. That's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, doing my best to just trust the flow. Um, so yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about how did you find cacao, or how did cacao find you?
I like that. Yeah, cacao find me. Well, firstly, I discovered cacao in Mexico when I was really young. And also, I have always been a chocolate lover. Later in my life, my mom had a chocolate shop for like 8 years in Nice, south of France. But it's only in 2019 when I changed completely my career. I used to be in luxury marketing, and I became a yoga teacher and a holistic health coach in that year. And this is when I travel Central and South America and during 9 months. And it's actually in Guatemala that I discovered the Mayan sacred cacao ceremony. It was with Nana Marina Cruz. She is a very powerful ceremonial leader, and she's a leader of fire, tobacco, and cacao. And she's known globally for her dedication to sharing this ancestral medicine. And that ceremony, particularly, was really beautiful. It was an uncommon beauty and purity. I have attended so many other ceremonies with Mayan elders, but that one was really when I really received a huge call to dive deeper into the cacao. It was just like obvious that I had to like communicate more with this plant. It's like the spirit called me. This is what I like to say. It
Mhm.
sounds really woo woo, but it really what happened. It's like it was coming from really deep inside me, from my heart. And I felt this very big connection to the plants. And I started to dive deeper and learn everything I could along the way in Mexico and Guatemala.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, so it was, sort of in conjunction with you doing your yoga teacher training, like, around the same time?
Well, it came actually after. I was
Okay.
in Bali for the teacher training, and then I started a South and Central America travel for 9 months.
Okay.
It was a bit of a self-discovery journey, and in this particular countries, Guatemala and Mexico, this is where I really felt that connection with the cacao. Even though
Mm,
in Bali it was existent and I was aware of it, but it wasn't the same deeper connection that I got when I was
mm.
in the lands where it started.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so magical.
Mhm.
Okay, so, let's dive a little deeper into that. So, can you explain for people what is cacao and why is it so sacred? Um, how
Mm.
is this medicine different?
Yeah, sure. Well, cacao is a plant that, when it's raw and pure, holds a cocktail of more than 300 chemical components. And it's called the medicine of the heart. So it is a heart opening medicine. And yeah, it originated from Mesoamerica. So this is the Central America part where the indigenous population, such as Aztecs, Maya, Mocayas, Olmecs, were living. And they were using this plant as a medicine. So we know cacao in something so different nowadays. Like we drink it or eat it as something sweet and really transformed. But when we go back to the plant in its raw form, it holds so much benefits.
Mm,
Like the chemical component inside, when it's raw, brings us to so many beautiful effects. I could talk hours about the benefits of it. And I think that's something you might want to know. Uh,
mhm,
because I remember you asked me what are the benefits of cacao, and oh my god,
mhm,
there are countless. Like cacao is just a magical plant. And yeah, first of all, it's a heart opener. So when you drink cacao, you straight away um go back to your heart and you feel this sense of being loved, or
mhm,
just yourself. You want to love everything and everyone around you.
mhm,
And it is called a food from the gods, and I think there's a reason for this. um so as I said, there's 300 active components. I mean, more than 300 in the raw cacao, which makes it so special. And it's an extraordinary source of different minerals. Like it is the highest source in the vegetable world of magnesium. And
Oh,
magnesium is
yes, I
known,
did know that.
yeah, it is known to be a muscle relaxer, and it helps you to really be like at peace. So just by this, it's a huge like source. And for example, if you're on your menstruation, you're lacking this magnesium. So having a cacao in this time is just amazing to just relax your muscles and your cramps. It is also like a super big sources of so different minerals like iron, calcium, copper, zinc, so many. And it's full of antioxidants. And let's take, for example, like theobromine, which is what gives you the boost of energy when you drink a cacao. It's a bit similar to caffeine, but it acts on a very more like longer time.
Yes,
While
yes.
caffeine will have like this effect of like up and down in about an
Mhm,
hour. Well, theobromine will give you this like boost of energy that lasts for many hours, and that it is like more smooth. Um, it's also like giving you this a bit like uplifted mood, and it's also helping you to focus. And that's just one example of one of these active component of
mhm,
magical cacao. And
mhm,
you know as well, because you're so passionate too. I see you drinking cacao all the time. But there's so many different amino acids and molecules that makes different effects on the body. And actually, in the training that I launched, I dedicated a whole module to explain what each component does to the body or to the soul. And it's really detailed because there's some particularities and some things that we're not doctors. I mean, I'm not actually a chemical person, so I'm trying to understand with
mhm,
like easy words what it actually does to the body, to the bloodstream, to the heart, to the brain, and so on. So
mhm.
yeah, it's more detail in the training.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it it's a whole science in and of itself. The components of cacao and how it benefits and yeah, I mean, I've experienced that too. Like if I need a little boost in the afternoon, I love to honestly, I'll snack on raw cacao sometimes. I definitely love it as a drink.
Mhm.
Melted with hot water or maybe some coconut milk, but I in the summer months, I'm not as inclined, but it's just like I find my eyes open from the inside out, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm like, I feel brighter and wider and more
Mm.
alert and more present. And and it's different, right, than cocoa, which I think a lot of people are used to when it comes to chocolate. And I believe
Mm.
cocoa is roasted cacao, right? Like is that right? Or
Well, it actually like cocoa or
yeah.
cocoa is the version that is industrialized. So what
Hmm.
happens is that the cacao has been heated. You're right.
Hmm.
It's like roasted, but heated so strongly that some of the molecules that are super heat sensitive got away. Like PEA, for example, the love molecule is away because it's super like heat sensitive. So in that way also the butter is brought away from the cacao, and this is how you get this like powder. Cocoa is actually Van Houten who invented it. The company patented about like in the 19th century, and it was a way to just like export cacao in a very lighter way because it was just a
Hmm.
powder and so easily to bring it back to something liquid. Because there was no butter, it was so easy to how to say, to just keep it in your storage for
Right.
years, while with the butter it's more, it will deteriorate
Yeah.
easily. The thing is, there's no butter, so you have so many minerals out of this powder.
Hmm.
And yeah, cocoa is nothing compared. It's like
Yeah.
something dead. When we talk, like we both foodies, when we talk about food that has prana, that is
Hmm.
alive and like full of minerals and good stuff that will nourish our bodies.
Hmm.
Well, this is raw cacao. And when we talk about like a cocoa, this is something that is dead. It's like there's
Hmm.
nothing alive in it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it still is better than some other ingredients, but it won't have the same goodness of a
Yeah.
raw cacao
Yeah, it
and
doesn't have
matcha.
the same health benefits. So
Exactly.
not only is cacao heart opening and ceremonial and spiritual, but it's actually very much physically beneficial and has so
Hmm.
many wonderful properties that help our cardiovascular system and our energy levels. And it's definitely something to be experienced. And before I talk a little bit about how it's ceremonial, I'm curious how you would suggest people find a quality raw cacao. I know there's many sources, but is there something that we should look for?
Yeah, I think what is really important is to know how it has been made, like which lens it's coming from,
Mhm,
because like I have my personal experience where I have noticed that when it's coming from Africa, that the conditions are a bit different.
mhm,
And even if it's a raw cacao, it just doesn't have the same prana, the same, but that is very subjective. So
mhm,
everyone has to find a quality and the brand that will really feed us, because I think
mhm,
each cacao is really unique. But what you want to look for is a cacao that is raw,
mhm,
ceremonial.
mhm,
So this has to be written in the package. That
mhm,
means that it hasn't been roasted, that it has this like essence of being super raw and made
mhm,
in a ceremonial way. Because if it has been roasted, then it doesn't have all these good benefits and like the good quality.
mhm. Yeah.
I also love to work with communities, like local communities, because you have like super big, it's like everything in the world.
Mhm,
There's like always big industries. Just knowing that when it's bigger, it cannot has the same intention on it,
mhm,
because it's impossible. It's too big. So I like to go to very small homemade manufacturer. I actually have my favorite one that comes from San Marcos La Laguna, which is a, maybe you know this village in Guatemala, a very sacred
Mm.
place.
I
It's like,
let me see. San Marcos La Laguna, right?
yes.
Yes. I wonder if we're going to the same distributor because that's
I
where
it's probably, I
yeah,
think,
it's in
yeah, we
Guatemala.
I think do you buy the cacao from Rukushule, this
Yeah.
collective
Yes.
of women? This is
Yes.
my very big like heart favorite one
Yay. I'm
because
glad I didn't even get it through you. I found it
yeah,
through someone else, but I'm happy that yeah, that I found a good one.
you found a very good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are amazing. What I
Yeah.
like about it is that I met them when I was in Guatemala, so I had this like connection with those women. Like
Yeah.
they work all day in their traditional Mayan outfit, and they just sing all day, and everything is made with so much love that when you receive the cacao, you can feel this love. Um,
Okay. I mean,
so yeah, there's different brands that I love, but this one is like my very heart connected one.
wow. Well, we should definitely link that one below because yeah, when just briefly when Cacao, I guess, found me, it was a few years ago. And I it was like a calling. I was like, I need to order this. Like I need cacao. And I found through, thank you, social media, I found them, I found their account and I ordered it and I just haven't been able to try anything else. I think I have tried
Mm,
something else from like, just different superfood companies and things like that. And it's just not the same. Their
mm,
cacao, you just feel it every time. You just feel the love, like you said. So I'm so happy
mm.
that you shared that they are literally dancing as they're making cacao.
They're really good. Maybe from Canada, you may have been in contact with Andrew. I think he's the
Yes,
reseller.
yes,
He is a
Andrew.
fairy,
I
cacao
love
fairy.
him. Yes.
He's
Oh,
really
that's so
good
great.
vibes. So
Okay,
cute.
excellent. So
Amazing.
yeah, we'll definitely share their info below.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's talk about cacao and its ceremony. And can you tell us what is a cacao ceremony?
Yes. Well, so coming back to this sacredness of the plant, a cacao ceremony is like giving thanks or honoring the plant as a medicine, I would say. So it's about making the drinking of this magical food a real ceremony, like something really special and beautiful to honor this. So usually what is happening is that we're in circles. So there is one or many facilitators and some guests who are attending a ceremony, and everyone is just like dressed beautifully, and there's a beautiful setting, and there's a lot of intention everywhere in everything that is made. And it can really differ from a facilitator to another, from the venue, from the country, from how the person has been connected to the plant. But during a ceremony, it's about slowing down and just drinking this medicine as a very specific ritual. So there are different steps. And also, again, this differs from the facilitator, but it can include some meditation, activities, and exercises like breathing techniques, journaling, body awareness, dancing, moving, chanting. There's really different way to experiment cacao ceremonies. I actually never attended a ceremony that was the same
Mhm.
or just like in the same steps. It's always so unique and always so transforming. But in very short, it's just a celebration of life, and it's a remembrance that we are all one. I think yeah, that really what resume like sum up for me what is a cacao ceremony. It's about remembering that we're loving beings and that we are all one. There's like this
Mhm.
sense of really oneness when we are all
Mhm.
celebrating cacao.
Oh, yeah, absolutely beautiful. And I've attended a few cacao ceremonies in person and virtual. And you're right, they are all different. And I think just bringing the medicine of cacao, the spirit of cacao into the room, is
Mm,
so powerful because I mean we can sit there without the cacao, sure, but it's just not the same experience.
Mm,
I find, yeah, it like you said, there's this unifying experience because we're all connecting to our heart and we're connecting to Mother Earth and this beautiful spirit, and it I think it just elevates the experience. Like if you're going to, a meditation circle or a full moon circle, the cacao just completes it in
mm.
my experience.
I think it brings a new layer, like a
Mhm,
deeper layer. It's like cacao really brings this loving bubble. We often talk about the unconditional love that you feel when you are experimenting cacao. And it's exactly what you said. It's like there's just something bigger, and
mhm,
it makes you go deeper. Actually, it makes you go to your heart.
mhm,
And this is what makes the whole difference.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely magical, and I have yet to experience one of your cacao ceremonies, but I look forward to it. I'm gonna keep an eye on your offerings because yeah, cacao's been really strong lately. Just the energy actually of the moon and the feminine and cacao, there's something happening. I keep feeling pulled and drawn to these sort of I guess feminine, sensual energies and yeah, maybe we'll have to connect soon and I'll have to tune into a ceremony if you have one coming up. But um now how can a ceremony benefit our life experience?
Mm. Well, what I really like to see is, when people arrive to a ceremony, they all have a certain way of coming and a personality. Like it's just so beautiful to acknowledge how, after drinking this medicine and diving into their hearts and having like receiving the soothing effects that it brings to their bodies, like how everybody just like drop their mask and there is no more ego. It's just like everyone is heart open and authentic, and we just realize how we are all like so similar, and we don't need to hide in those like um oops in those like in French is etiquette. I don't have it. It's
Mm,
like stickers, but like yeah, hats.
yeah.
It's just like coming, we all come from the same source and we share the same fears and the same doubts, and coming together in circle and sharing this moment of cacao together, it's just a unique way to just feel again this oneness.
Mhm.
um so it can benefit us in this way where people feel a bit like secluded or not belonging. Well, when they come to a cacao ceremony, they really have this sense of, oh my God, I'm not
Mhm.
alone in this. We are all together in this. And I
Mhm.
have goosebumps saying
Mhm.
this, but it's just
Yeah.
like this sense of, yeah, there's no other spaces like this. It's also amazing to it can be like really transforming for people because it's an experience of coming to the heart, and
Mhm.
sometimes people are really into their mind, especially
Yeah.
in our societies where we have so much things to do and
Me.
we keep being like overwhelmed with thoughts. And when we come in a ceremony, it's a way to really like, okay, there's nothing else to do but to connect and to receive. And
Mhm.
this openness to the heart is like a beautiful like you're diving into your heart, and that can bring so much insights and also can release so much emotion, and it's very healing. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right,
Oh.
especially for those of us, who might operate in their minds as a default and, there's a forever lists and things to do and, I think that is society in general, so this bringing us back into our heart is, uh, definitely, I think, one of the best medicines that we have on the planet right now, for sure.
Yes.
And, yeah, and in what settings can we use cacao? So should it only be in ceremony or can we have
Mhm.
it anytime?
Well, I know some people come to cacao as an everyday drink, and I'm not judging this. It's just, I mean, it's still healthier than drinking coffee.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, I think the sacred cacao, like ceremonial cacao, should be drink on a very specific occasion.
Mm, mhm.
Um, because it's also a way to keep it like sacred. If it's
Yeah.
every day, it just loses a bit of its like sacredness and power. And it is a good medicine to drink when you need, for example, a specific clarification in an area of your life, if you're seeking answers. Or, for example, you're having an issue with your partners or with a friend, and you need to find a solution. Well, then diving into cacao together can just like bring you back from a place of heart
Mm,
and help you solve the problem. So that's a way I'd love to have cacao. I also
mhm,
love to have a cacao when I like see a girlfriend, a good girlfriend I haven't seen for so long, and we have this special occasion to just connect back together. This is a beautiful way to get
mhm.
back. I think when it's also, oh my God, are you hearing the thunderstorm that is around? Oh, it's fine.
No, I don't hear it.
It's
That's
gonna
exciting.
explode here. I'm in south of France. I don't get it. It's so stormy. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
What was I saying? Yeah,
Just
I
when you
was
have
saying,
cacao.
like, for example, when there's birth ceremonies, this is
Mm,
beautiful to add the cacao for celebrating the new birth. This is amazing. But also like different occasions, birthday, moons.
yeah.
I did this year a beautiful ceremony for the New Year's Eve. I kind of like just went out of all the craziness of partying, and I just went to this sacred space and I host a ceremony for my friends, and it was amazing. Like just going to the new year with the cacao medicine, it was so beautiful.
Oh, that
So
sounds
it,
delightful.
it was so insightful to just get all the answers for how the new year is going to be, and just like connecting, yeah, from a place of heart to go to the new year and starting the year in a healthy way. It was beautiful. It's
Mm.
also so yummy.
Hmm.
But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I would suggest to keep it special, you know?
Yeah. I agree. Sometimes I go months without having cacao. And then I'll have, waves of like, okay, cacao wants to be with me, more often, but definitely, I mean, it is so special, and it's not just like a whip it up, make a drink thing. It's yeah,
Yeah.
especially when you're using ceremonial cacao, right? Like it it just
It
it wants to
also,
be sat with, I think.
yeah, true. And I think, it's not also so good to have it on a daily basis
Mhm,
because, it contains theobromine and a bit of caffeine, which are stimulants. And for example, for people who are like usually stressed, like have some like anxiety or stress in their lives, well, having too much can also like stimulate the adrenals.
mhm,
So I would just say, just for that reason, also, it's not so good to have it every day.
mhm.
It's like coffee. It
Yeah,
just for that reason, also good to just keep it spare and occasional. And
yeah,
also advise not to have it too late at night.
mhm.
Otherwise, it's hard to get asleep.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
experimented this so badly some
yeah.
days.
Oh,
It's
geez.
amazing, but not like late at night. So otherwise, you won't have good sleep.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And,
Mhm.
what's your go-to recipe when you're preparing cacao?
Mm. Yeah, my favorite one is adding a bit of milk. Like I love the nut milk
Mhm,
when I prepare it, and I add some cinnamon, a bit of cayenne pepper, and turmeric.
mhm,
And this very specific ingredient that makes it so different for me is coconut sugar, because it's just
mm.
gonna bring a bit like when it's heated slowly on the casserole, it would just makes it a bit, I don't know, there's something special about coconut sugar. So
Yeah,
this is my very favorite one. I
yeah.
like to add vanilla when I have some under, like
Mm.
vanilla, few drops. Yeah.
Wow.
What's
Beau
yours?
Beautiful. Very similar. Yeah, sometimes um prepare it with water and maybe a little bit of coconut milk just to give it a bit of creaminess, and yeah, cinnamon, cayenne, and I have coconut sugar. I don't think I've used it, but I've used maple syrup, which, I mean,
Mm.
classic.
You're Canadian,
It
of
just
course.
it's we have it, and it's so
Hmm.
good. I mean, I get really good maple syrup, so it's, I bring a little bit of the Canadian land into the mix.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, I've added a little bit of maca before as well as like
Mm.
a superfood, but yeah, that's very similar to your recipe, um and I do agree that adding that bit of sweetness it just gives it a bit more of a rounded flavor or something, and
Mm.
it's so good.
Actually, when I do ceremonies, my cacao is so raw. It's really
Mm.
the plant in its rawness. I want people to experiment the raw cacao, just water and cacao.
Mhm.
But for myself, I have very sweet tooth. So
Yep.
yeah, I add the sweetener. And
Yeah.
coming back to maca, how do you do? Because when I mix maca in my cacao, it never really gives this texture. It will mix, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it is a
yeah.
heavier ingredient, so it does settle to the bottom
Mm,
sometimes, right? But I have like I'll blend everything just like a quick
mm.
like zzz, just to get it all together, but sometimes the maca does settle, but I do love the rich nutty flavor of maca as well. So I don't have it's not perfect, but it's there.
Mm.
Yeah. Amazing. And yeah, and I guess how has cacao transformed your life? It's been in your life for a few years, and you've been able to host ceremonies, and I'd love to hear a little bit about, yeah,
Mm.
that transformation experience.
Well, for sure, cacao is so present in my life. I think like the transformation it had on me, it just gave me so much faith that we are loving beings and that I was not living in my little hoping word. It is real. We are loving beings and there's this unconditional love that we are all made of. We're just craving this so badly. So it's just giving me so much hope that this is real and we are also like spiritual beings. This is also the confirmation when when I dove into cacao, it was the real answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't say transform my life. It's not like you're drinking cacao and then your life becomes amazing, right?
Mhm.
There's so much other work you have to do on the side, but it is like one of the best tools that I had in my spiritual journey to
Yeah.
dive into the heart. Yeah,
It sounds
that's
like it
beautiful.
enhanced your life. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did so
Amazing.
good. Yeah, I'm so
Oh,
grateful to have access to this medicine.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, the beautiful people of Guatemala,
Yay.
for
Thank you,
sharing this.
Rucochole.
Yes, yes,
Gracias. And thank you
yes.
to the cacao, Mother Cacao, who is,
Mhm,
who called you also. You said you've been called. Like I think
mhm,
so many people just receive this calling. It's becoming more and more present. And I think this is amazing because we need more cacao. We
mm,
need more yin. We need more love. The
mhm,
lands are craving this,
mhm.
right? So this
Absolutely.
is yeah, I will yeah. Go
Absol Absolutely.
on.
And, oh, that just reminded me to ask you one other thing that's now slipped my
Mhm.
brain, but, oh, this episode is coming out, just before the solstice, so, like, the night before the solstice, and would you say that today or tomorrow is an appropriate time to work with cacao? Do you work with the moons or the solstices or the equinoxes?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's really potent when you're like celebrating the moons or any specific, like the solstice is quite an intense moment. And there's also like the celebration of international yoga worldwide, right? This day. It's such a beautiful day. And it's
Mm,
also the music, like celebration of music that is also amazing in our life. I mean, yeah, definitely. Um, I will also listen to your podcast on this, like all the information.
yeah.
The astrological forecast. But yeah, definitely it's a potent time to work. when it's attuned with the moon. I
Yeah.
usually do a cacao for new moon and
Mm,
also sometimes when it's full moon, but mostly for new moon. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we have a new moon coming up in Gemini on the weekend. And then the solstice a few days later. So
Gonna be
anytime, I think
intense.
this, yeah, this sounds like perfect time. And I'm really excited specifically for the solstice for some reason. I don't know, Cancer season, that lunar energy. Um, Remind me, Celine, when is your birthday?
Oh, 10 of March. I'm a Pisces.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I know I was definitely picking up on the water energy.
Mm.
I wasn't sure if I couldn't remember if you're a Cancer or Pisces, but amazing. Okay. So yeah, bringing in that fluidity. I love it. So yeah, so and is there any other, modalities that you like to share, maybe in conjunction with
Mm.
cacao or um,
Mm.
you know, any or without cacao, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your offerings and yeah, and how we can find you.
Hmm. Yeah, sure. So I will do a cacao ceremony next week. I'm hosting a retreat. It's going to be a surf and yoga retreat in Morocco. It's going to be so cool.
Yes, it is.
But this is very unique. I don't do that often. I teach yoga often and I share cacao ceremonies, usually where I live. And I also do some women circles. And sometimes I invite the cacao into our women circles. And usually it's for new moons and full moons. I used to do it online. And I think in September this year, I might do it again, hosting some spaces online for women to just connect together and celebrate new moons and full moons. You would definitely be invited. And you could actually be the forecaster, the astrologist on this. It would be
We
fun
should.
to
We
discuss
should.
this. I would
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
Um, and so yeah, if you're interested, like if hearing us with Kelsey on the cacao and you want to find out more about the cacao, there's my website. It's Celine Freundlich, Freundlich, which is my last name. CelineFriendly.com. I think Kelsey will put it so that it's easier because my last name is quite long. It means friendly, so it's cool, but it's long. And otherwise, I have Instagram under a cute little nickname that is Perle, which means pure divine light energy yoga. But I might one day just go back to Celine Friendly on Instagram. And yeah, if you're interested about the training to know more about cacao and to host ceremonies, because I think, yeah, we really need you. Um, it is something that is super beautiful and everybody can access this. And if you're just like wanting to have a bit more information and a bit more, yeah, confidence that you too can do it and share it to your communities, my training is only 222, like 222 euros, which is super accessible. And yeah, you get your money back after hosting your first ceremonies. That was my intention because I really want my goal here is really to make it accessible to
Mhm.
everyone. I think if everybody could drink cacao on ceremonies once in a while, the world would be so much better. And yeah, it can just create a ripple effect on people and we could just like be all connected to our hearts. And that's my goal, having a
Mm,
healthier and more beautiful world for people to
yeah,
live in. So yeah, that's my website. It's the best place. So
perfect.
selinefriendly.com. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful for our conversation.
Yeah, no, thank
Talking
you.
about cacao is just always amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I'm sure people can feel that buzz coming from you and the energy and are passionate about this medicine. I definitely wanted to make sure that this message was shared because I agree. I do think that the world will be a better place with more cacao in more people's hands, so and hearts. So thank you for joining and yeah, and stay tuned for more retreats and collaborations and exciting things. And yeah, overall, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelsey. Have a beautiful day.
Oops.